This is the Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. And I have with me tonight my man, Sam Mitchell. Sam is a 22-year-old college student from Indiana. Is that right? Indiana?
Yep, you got
And,
it.
and we are here to talk about autism and his
Yes, we
podcast
are.
called Autism Rocks and Rolls. So with that being said, Brother Sam, I thank you for coming along and participating on my show. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. Just wondering real quick before we begin, is the Zoom supposed to be recording too, or just the certain part?
I'm sorry, say again?
Is the Zoom supposed to be recording too?
Yeah, it is recording.
Oh, okay, cool. It didn't say it on my end. That's why I was confused.
Oh, did you get it? Okay, yeah, it should
There's
be.
a record button on the bottom of Zoom. It says record, and it should usually say like recording in progress.
Let me see. Um,
It may not be just this time. It may just be my imagination.
yeah, hold on a second. Let me see. Yeah, let me see. Custom live service. Yep. Let me see, because I know I checked. It says it's streaming.
All right, awesome. All right then, just making sure. Maybe it's just my imagination.
Okay.
But hey, to answer your question, we're doing great today.
All right, man. I appreciate you, boss. I appreciate you. Let me see. Okay. Yeah. We're on. We're good. We're on. So, Sam, let me ask you some questions, brother. And the first one I want to ask is you what was it like growing up with autism? And
Growing up with autism was very difficult, but also it was a beauty. I was very creative compared to a lot of the other students that I was in my class with, but I was so out of the box thinking, so different than a lot of these other children. I
mm,
got pushed out to the side and bullied and excluded because of it.
mm, mm. How did that make you look at yourself being bullied and ostracized because you were dealing with something that was beyond your control, Sam?
Like it was a piece of garbage.
Mm, mm. Okay. Okay. So did you start doing anything like destructive with yourself because you were feeling like that? Did it take you down a
Um,
road? You know what I'm saying?
right, it take me down a road.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so frustrating, but I guess I got used to it because I didn't do much other than sometimes maybe like once here and there snapped off at them,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
it was very brief and quick.
Mm. Okay. Okay. Well, how do you manage it now as an adult, a young adult, I should say?
Well, you pretty much just don't let it bother you anymore. You try to be around the people who have shown by their actions they give a flying crap about you.
Mm. Yeah, I agree with that, brother. If nobody wants to mess around with you, that's cool. Show them the door and kick their ass out.
Oh, believe me, I've shown many times the door to a lot of people.
That's good. That's good. How did your parents take care of you? Were they
Um,
supportive?
they they were very supportive. I think that's why I probably didn't bite back or, you know, knock
Mm,
someone's head off
right.
because I had a good family and a support system.
Mm, good, good. I appreciate that. Before I continue, I'm with Sam Mitchell, and he's talking about his story um, about him dealing with autism. And I also want you to talk about your ADHD because I know during our initial interview you mentioned that you deal with ADHD as well. So if there's anybody out there that's listening in the chat that wants to ask questions of Sam, please do so as we go on and proceed with this discussion. So, Sam, define for me what autism is and what does that look like?
Well, it's a neurological condition where a lot of people perceive it as a disorder. They don't understand social cues. Sometimes they lack motor skills. They get overwhelmed in sensory situations. There's a lot of repetitive behaviors and restricted interests. The way I view it, though, because of my optimism, is it's a different way of thinking.
Mm, okay. Okay. Now, I don't know much about autism, but I do know that there's some sensory issues that you guys may deal with, uh, some things that trigger you. Is there anything that triggers you or triggers your behaviors to spike a little bit, Sam?
When I get crappy with you or when I'm mad at someone.
Okay.
The problem is, it's like someone makes me mad for the whole day, and then everyone gets the backlash of it.
Mm. Hmm. Okay. Okay. Now, from your understanding of what autism uh, is there anything that you're doing to help you better understand your situation, like talking to a counselor, life coach, or you have a good group of friends that you can console with?
I just try to get these good group of friends I have, and kind of what I stated earlier, I go back to where I feel safe, which is around them. Maybe sometimes if I need to, I'll amplify my experience by being around them, but also taking them out to a place that I like to be at, such as friends with Texas Roadhouse, for example.
Oh yeah, like that place.
Oh, me too, man. I go for the ribs. They're the best.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. Now, I spoke earlier about you having to deal with ADHD. Now, again, I'm not too new about that, but can you explain to me how the ADHD and the autism, how does that affect you?
It affects me because in my brain, I need to constantly be moving. Great example is when I'm in, I got this hall in my dorm, and they like me a lot in there, and they still do, but they let me do this really cool thing I've been wanting to do for a long time, which I know I couldn't do in a regular classroom, but because of we're adults, I guess in college, I literally pace back and forth with these headphones on
Mm,
because I'm thinking and I'm moving. It's nothing going on, and just for my brain relaxing and at peace. On top of ADHD, it hurts to sit still. I get ants in my pants too easy. So if you notice
mm.
me a lot swarming in the camera, there's a reason why I'm doing it.
Okay, okay, I understand, and there's no problem with that. Whatever you have to do to make yourself feel comfortable, Sam, I'm with you. All right, just want you to understand that. Uh, does dealing with the ADHD and the autism, does that affect how you view relationships or friendships? Does that
It
have any
does.
talk
It
about that?
does because sometimes it's funny. One person said the autism ADHD battles itself out here and there because the autism is very logic and okay, makes you think. When you
Mm-hmm.
also have ADHD, you get impulsive.
Mm,
When it comes to relationships, when I'm out of patience, I will confront you, and I'm not saying confront me in a mean way. I'm not like, give me your lunch money or whatever. It's more
mm,
of telling you, okay, what's going on here? What the heck do you want from me? Do you want
mm,
just to be on campus friends? Do you want to go on a date? Do you want to be a friend?
mm.
What do you want? And I'm not mad at whatever you'll take. I'll take, but just tell me, and we'll
Sure.
go from there.
Right. Are you actively in a relationship right now, Sam?
No, no.
Okay.
Single, ready to mingle. Let's put it that way.
All right, my brother. All right. Uh, the 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 conversation that we're having has always interested me, Sam, because I I can't take what you're going through for granted. So if I'm asking you a lot of questions as it relates to that, please forgive me because I don't want to assume nothing, right? I know a little about autism, but I'm not uh I'm not well learned in that particular topic, my friend. So I'm just trying to get a better understanding about what that is. and how that affects you and what your behaviors will present, right? So for
Well,
example,
you said one of your shows is called "Speak About Your Truth," right? Well,
that's
that's
it.
my kicker is I like to tell the truth. We all do.
Yes.
But here's the thing: we've heard sometimes in the phrase "the truth hurts," and you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't always tell the truth to someone because it's going to hurt their feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Do I care if that's going to hurt their feelings? Yes. But do I think it still needs to be said? Yes.
Yes. Yes. I
Even if it hurts.
Yeah, yeah. And there's something that I always say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's like you can be blunt and tell the truth, and you can also use tact in how you approach people. Because one thing that I've learned, because I was very much like you when I was younger, if people wanted me to give their honest opinion, I'll give it. You may not like it, but I'll give it, right? So what I've learned as I grew older, Sam, is it's not necessarily what you say to people, it's how you deliver the message. I mean, you can deliver it with a bow tie, or you can deliver it with a bulldozer. I mean, the message is still the message. So, but the thing though with delivering the message, Sam, is sometimes you have to be blunt, because if you're too fluffy with it, they may not get it. You know what I mean? So you have to give them that bulldozer conversation. So, um, yeah. But you have high functioning autism, correct?
Yep, that's where basically I'm more of a little, just a smudge, maybe delayed. So maybe I would probably say realistically, I have the mindset of a, how old am I? 22. Okay, I can't even know my own birth. I don't know how old I am anymore. um, maybe I would say I have the mind of a 21-year-old compared to a lot of my other people I've met. But then sometimes you meet others who are, maybe they have the mind of a 1-year-old or an
Really?
18-month old. I met someone when I was keynote speaking in Daniels, West Virginia. They told me her mindset was 18 months old.
Mm,
And some, though, are in the middle of the road. So maybe in the middle of the road is okay, they understand motor skills, but you put them in a job setting, it's a bad idea.
okay. 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 So with that being said, are you working while you're going to school, or you're just going to school?
Yeah, nice. So I'm very involved with my school, but the job I do have is broadcasting work for basketball games, my school's basketball games. So sometimes it's like audio work when there's timeouts, I'll play some music for you, or
Mm-hmm.
camera work, panning the camera left and right.
Mm-hmm.
I've done some graphics work, popping up the graphics for the games when they're introducing the players,
Nice.
or if they make a slam dunk or something, we pop up their graphic for them. It's
Mm.
a fun job.
Cool. 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 Now, I've did a little research earlier today, Sam, and I found out that people who suffer from high functioning autism, they think in a logical and a consistent way that leads them to make quick decisions. So with that being said, Sam, are you a quick thinker? Do you make, what I'm saying? Do you make quick decisions?
Um, Sometimes yes, but then sometimes no, because what happens is I'm also a person who will overthink everything.
Mm,
And if I overthink it so much, I'm done.
mm-hmm,
Like, the decision is this, I'm not doing it, period.
mm-hmm,
Or sometimes there won't be a decision. I will quiet down and say, nope. But then sometimes, yes, they are quick with decisions and can think off the fly, which is a bad thing in my opinion, but it's also a good thing. It has its pros and cons.
yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. I also read that high functioning autistic adults, they struggle with expressing affection. but it doesn't mean that you guys lack emotional depth. You just have trouble expressing that. So, does that describe how you are in terms of your relationships, Sam?
For some it could be. I mean, I've seen a lot of people who are very much like that.
Okay.
However, for me in particular, no. I'm a very affectionate guy. I really love my family every day. But
Mm.
mine's with my feelings.
Hmm.
My feelings are I will either beat around the bush on it and take forever to get to the point, or it's very direct and I'm not afraid to be Gordon Ramsay and telling you to get out of the kitchen.
Okay. Okay. So you don't have a problem expressing yourself as it relates to other people.
Right. Well, it's one way or the other though. I think when we know we're talking to people, there's a happy medium of you tell how it is, but you're still respectful, right? You
Mm.
don't beat around the bush, but you're still doing it out of love and respect, and the tone of your voice is firm but fair, right?
Sure.
Mine is either too fair or too firm.
Hmm.
I don't have that firm but fair line in me.
Got you. So it's polar. It's either this or that.
Right. It's oh, I'm so sorry. Blah, blah, blah. Well, this is what I
Right.
think you should do. It's more of like someone trying to beat around the bush and just saying, well, this is probably what I would have done, but here's why. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like leading up to it, or it's like, you stupid idiot. Why would you do that?
Got you. Got you. So you give them the blunt version or the fluffy version. It's no in between.
Right.
Talk about your podcast, brother. It's called Autism Rocks and Rolls. Talk about what led you to create that platform and what does it revolve around? I know it revolves around autism, but talk about what led you up to creating it and what does it involve in particular.
Well, it started. I joined my high school's media club, and I fell in love with it so much that I decided to start my own podcast, and that was when Autism Rocks and Rolls was born.
Okay. And what does Autism Rocks and Rolls? What do you do with that podcast?
Well, there's a lot of things I like to do with it, but records one thing clearly. But the things I'll talk about, some of the behaviors I've portrayed in the past, or behaviors I've seen those with autism portray, like the foot and mouth syndrome. We also do meltdowns. I mean, we've
Mm,
had those since childhood. I don't have them as much, but I know, gosh, you can ask my mom about how much meltdowns I've had in the past, and they've been so bad. I've broken windshields. Have I hit people? Yeah. I will never do that. I don't do it anymore, clearly.
mm,
But did I as an 8-year-old? Yeah. I ain't gonna lie to you.
right.
Do I also have some anger issues? Yes. And sensitive feelings with my shirt in particular? Yes. Do not like my shirt getting wet. So
Mm,
when it's raining, it's a bad day.
mm,
I just trust me. I look like Mary Poppins more than anything, but mine's more extreme Mary Poppins because one day I'm considering getting a poncho too.
mm. Got you.
And
So
then sometimes my patience level isn't the best with people.
yeah, I can yeah, I'm with you on that. There's some days I don't want to be around anybody myself, brother. So I
No,
get it.
I feel yeah. I go to school in the same program I mentioned briefly
Mm,
every Friday. I try my best not to go up there every Friday, not because I hate the people, but it's just because I'm peopled out and I cannot deal with it every five with people for 5 days in a row
yes,
unless I absolutely have to.
yes, I totally get it, brother. When was the last time you had a meltdown?
When was the last time I had a meltdown? Gee whiz, I can't remember the last time I had a meltdown. I think it was um maybe a couple years ago. Or I think I overwhelmed and was in Longhorn Steakhouse and I basically threw the phone. not like cracked. It wasn't like, threw the phone, hit the wall, shattered. It was more of a, you know, underthrow it because people weren't being quiet. I got overwhelmed. There was just so much sensory noise going on in the back.
Hmm. What? So you had a meltdown at Longhorn Steakhouse, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And
Wow.
I threw, and I did throw, and I'm not gonna lie, I did like chug the phone, but it wasn't like so extreme. You know, it what the wall broke or the phone broke. It was more of a here that throw.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha. What are your you mentioned that rain is a trigger for you. What are some other triggers?
Well, it's not really rain as much as it is getting my clothes wet.
Okay.
So if I'm gonna go to a pool, my trunks are going on. There ain't no swim with your shirt, ain't swim with the shorts. It's swimming trunks. There's no swimming in clothes. My cousin did that as a young boy, and I thought, God, you're an idiot for doing that. But he always did. I was like, well, I'm waiting. Also, at our amusement park, there are times when my friends, when I was younger, would go to amusement parks, and they always want to do the wet rides. They're wet, like the log flume, the rapids. I don't know which you call the rapid rides, but
Hmm.
you always get your clothes wet, and you knew that. That's part of the ride, right? I would not ride those rides unless afterwards we're gonna get a nice change of clothes because I could not walk around the amusement park and do the rides enjoyably with the wet T-shirt on.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. So that's a trigger. Do you have any other triggers?
Um, let's see. Any other triggers? I'm trying to think. That's
Okay.
a hard one to answer, but I bet if you got to know me, you could probably figure them out off the top of your head.
That's okay, man. I'm just trying to I'm just asking questions because just because you deal with autism, Sam, uh, I understand that you have sensory issues and that triggers you, right? But I don't have sensory, issues, but I do have triggers because of what I deal with. Um, and for example, for me, I can't handle being in large crowds. That jacks up my anxiety to the roof. So me being in large crowds is a trigger for me. Me standing behind doors, I can't do that. I have to sit in an area where I can see the door and everybody else. Uh, and this is due to my military experiences, right? So those
Oh, thanks for your service, buddy.
thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, sir. But yeah, those two things right off the bat are triggers. So if the wife and we go out for dinner or whatever, she knows automatically that I need to face the door. So she'll say, "Oh, you can sit there." I'm like, "Yes, you're right. I can. Thank you very much." So that's that. Those are some of my triggers, right? But I'm asking you, does the triggers more intense?
Yeah,
Meaning
probably.
meaning
Yep.
that,
They can be intense, but if you have like a caregiver or someone who can calm them down, I think you're all right.
okay.
But you were talking about loud crowds, large crowds. That's one for me too. The
Hmm.
worst one though for me, because I think with me in particular, sometimes the large crowds are, eh, I don't like it, but I'll manage it.
Yeah,
But there's some like large crowds like, oh my god, get
right.
me the heck out of here. It's
Yeah,
concerts.
yeah.
Concerts and exiting a concert,
Mm,
oh my freaking god. It's a mayhouse.
mm.
It needs to be more controlled.
Indeed. Indeed. So,
Now, granted, I don't know how you're gonna wrangle up 1,000 people and put them in a line, but you gotta do it somehow.
yeah,
Because gosh,
yeah,
I have not been to many concerts for that reason. Now, I'm not saying I haven't gone to concerts. Believe me,
Right.
if it's worth it, sometimes I'll go for it. Like, gosh, if Nickelback were to come to Indiana, I'm like, screw that, I'm going.
Amen. Yeah, I hear you, brother. I hear you. But yeah, I just want to know the trigger signals for you because I would imagine that, and as we talked about, triggers would be more intense for somebody with your condition as it relates to me. So thank you for sharing that. Now, you're currently in college taking up broadcasting. At the school you're at, Sam, have you ever encountered any problems because of your disability or whatever I could word I can use, or
Um,
have you witnessed that?
I've seen it, and my problem is, you might laugh at this, but it's keeping my mouth shut. Is sometimes I've said things, and it's like, oh, why did I say that? That was crossing the line. Probably, I might get a not a detention, but a rip after that.
Hmm. Okay.
Now have I though? No, but have I pretty much sometimes? I don't say come close, but have I probably made some teachers who are like, he's all right, but if I had to, I'd rather have this student in my classroom.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. Now,
but the good news is in the broadcasting department at my school,
mhm,
a lot of those teachers, instead of working against you, because sometimes there's been college programs and or professors or someone in this program or a teacher or the program itself are like hard to work with just because they're stubborn a-holes.
hmm,
Well, that's not with this program. They will work with you. You just got to approach them, and I think that's all right. I think that's fair to me. If I'm going
yes,
to work with you, you got to talk to me.
yes,
I get that we're adults. We need to be self-advocating for ourselves.
yes, and that's good. That's good because it's making you feel comfortable and safe. So we need that. So you mentioned earlier that you spoke uh you spoke at a group in West Virginia?
Yeah, Daniels, West Virginia, keynote speaker. I was speaking to parents who have like either children with very, I don't want to say severe, but I hate this word, but it's the only right thing on the top of my head, low functioning autism, or for adults or caregivers who are working with their clients who are either children who are on the autism spectrum, but are they not speaking really, or autistic adults.
Okay. Was the crowd large?
Um, fair size,
Okay.
fair size. So maybe definitely some people, but it wasn't like Podfest that I went to, which was my favorite thing I went to, surprisingly,
Mm,
because there was so much people. But here's the thing: at Podfest, they were genuinely nice people who I don't think were BSing. It was the first time I ever felt like included in a big group. So I was willing to let this anxiety of the large crowd slide it under the rug
okay. Okay.
because I felt safe in that crowd.
Mm, okay. That's where I was going. That's where I was going, and thank you for sharing that. Uh, Here's an interesting question for you, Sam. If you were to encounter someone that was dealing with autism, for example, yourself, and they were struggling, what words of encouragement would you give to that person?
But I always tell people to find someone that someone's going to find them interesting. If no one's going to take you in, or you don't believe that, that is a load of baloney because you're talking to someone right now who will. Or if it doesn't work, he'll at least give it a chance to see what the relationship brings.
Hmm. Okay. Okay.
And am I going to put your past? Am I going to judge you on the fact you got a D in math, or maybe you're homeless, or maybe you're African American, or maybe you're like the same gender? Am I going to judge you on what your home life is like, or that your house might smell like pee? No.
Hmm. Okay.
But I'm not going to lie, although I won't judge, I am aware of the consequences.
Sure. Okay. Good. 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 As long as you're aware. Sam, before we end the show, I want you to speak to the ether. Give us some good words of encouragement for those of you that may look at this with a child or a relative that's dealing with autism, and you guys are struggling with dealing with your loved one or loved ones. I'm just speaking. Sam, can you give any words of encouragement to anyone that
Well,
is dealing that?
I was going to say, if it's with the parents and the children, I mean, I would say to them in particular, hang in there. Okay? I'm not going to lie to you. When it comes to autism, yes, there are some tough days. There's been points where my mother, my father, and probably other family members who are with me sometimes feel like they're dealing with me instead of loving me and wanting to rip their hair out. But there are some beautiful and happy days ahead of you, too.
Hmm.
And give them a chance
Hmm.
wherever it leads them.
Hmm.
The stars might shine along the way.
Hmm. Okay. I appreciate that, Sam. Last question, Sam. How can people reach you? How can people contact you?
Well, no, I'm going to find you. You can find me on your favorite media platform. If you Google me, your search engine optimization, something will pop up.
Okay. Fair enough. Sam Mitchell, creator of Autism Rocks and Rolls. It has been a pleasure having you on my show. I thank you so much for your time and sharing your story with me. And I wish you nothing but the best, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate that, my friend. And so, with that being said, guys, this is the Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. Thank you guys for coming on the show and listening. And remember, guys, self-care is important. So make sure that your mental health and physical health, make that a priority and do it every day and do it first. With that being said, guys, I'm out. You guys take care. And you too, Sam. Bye-bye.